Geraldine McEwan was an English actress who had a long career in theatre, television and film. She was nominated for the Tony Award for Best Actress in a Play in 1998 for her performance in The Chairs. She won a BAFTA award for her performance in the television serial Oranges Are Not the Only Fruit. From 2004 to 2009 she appeared as Miss Marple, the Agatha Christie sleuth, for the series Marple. Michael Coveney described her, in a tribute article, as a great comic stylist, with a syrupy, seductive voice and a forthright, sparkling manner. Early life. She was born Geraldine McEwan on 9 May 1932 in Old Windsor, Berkshire, England, to Donald and Nora McEwan. She had Irish antecedents. Her maternal grandfather came from Kilkenny while her paternal grandfather came from Belfast. Her father, a printer's compositor, ran the Labour Party branch in Old Windsor, a safe, conservative seat. McEwan won a scholarship to attend Windsor County Girls' School, then a private school where she felt completely out of place, and took elocution lessons. In an interview with Cassandra Jardine of the Daily Telegraph in 2004, she said of herself around this time, "I was very shy, very private, but after reading a poem at a Brownie concert, I realized it was going to be a way in which I could manage the world. I could protect myself by losing myself in other people." As a teenager, McEwan became interested in theatre and her theatrical career began at 14 as assistant stage manager at the Theatre Royal, Windsor. She made her first appearance on the Windsor stage in October 1946 as an attendant of Hippolyta in A Midsummer Night's Dream and played many parts with the Windsor Repertory Company from March 1949 to March 1951, including a role in the Ruth Gordon bioplay Years Ago opposite guest player John Clark. From 1951 to 1971, McEwan made her first West End appearance at the Vaudeville Theatre on 4 April 1951 as Christina Deed in Who Goes There. McEwan first appeared on television in a BBC series, Crime on Our Hands, with Jack Watling, Dennis Price and Sonia Dresdel. In 1957, she took over from Joan Plowright in the Royal Court production of John Osborne's play The Entertainer during its West End run at the Palace Theatre. McEwan appeared at the Shakespeare Memorial Theatre in Stratford-upon-Avon during the late 1950s and early 1960s. During the period when it was evolving into the Stratford venue for the new Royal Shakespeare Company formed in 1960, and at the Aldwych, the RSC's original London home. During the 1958 season in Stratford, she played Olivia in Twelfth Night in a production directed by Peter Hall. After McEwan died, The Guardian's Michael Billington wrote of this performance. At the time Olivia tended to be played as a figure of mature grief. McEwan was young, sparky, witty and clearly brimming with desire for Dorothy Tuton's page boy Viola. McEwan's performance, according to Dominic Shellard, split contemporary critical opinion between those observers who considered it heretical, and others who thought it revolutionary. In the same season at Stratford, McEwan portrayed Marina in Pericles and Hero in Much Ado About Nothing. She returned to the theatre in 1961 to portray Ophelia in Hamlet, opposite Ian Bannon as the Prince, and Beatrice in Much Ado About Nothing with Christopher Plummer as Benedict. In a production of Sheridan's The School for Scandal directed by Sir John Gielgud in 1962, McEwan replaced Anna Massey as Mrs. Teasle during the run at the Haymarket Theatre, London. Her husband was played by Sir Ralph Richardson. After an American tour, this production was staged at the Majestic in New York in early 1963, and was McEwan's debut on Broadway. Back in England, she appeared with Kenneth Williams in the original unsuccessful 1965 production of Loot by Joe Orton, which closed at the Wimbledon Theatre before reaching London. After this debacle, she joined the National Theatre Company, then based at the Old Vic, following the suggestion of Sir Laurence Olivier, then its artistic director, and performed in 11 productions over the next 5 years. She appeared with Olivia in Dance of Death, staged by film.She, and first performed in February 1967. A portrayal of a marriage, Olivia asserted, according to his biographer Philip Ziegler, that he had chosen August Strindberg's play partly because it had a good part for McEwan. "I didn't give a damn if I made a success, I really didn't. It was her success I was after." The notices, though, concentrated on his role as the captain rather than McEwan's as Alice, the captain's wife. A film version, with the same two leads, was released in 1969. During her first period at the National, she also portrayed Angelica in William Congreve's Love for Love, Raymond Achandibizer in Georges Fido's A Flea in Her Ear, Millamant in The Way of the World, and Vittoria Corombona in John Webster's The White Devil. Until her roles in the plays by Strindberg and Webster, McEwan was viewed mainly as a comedienne, but these parts were thought to have extended her range. In the 1970s and 1980s, McEwan took the lead role in an adaptation for Scottish television of Muriel Sparks' The Prime of Miss John Brodie. She was Sparks' favourite in the role and came the closest to the character as Spark had imagined it. Brodie has also been portrayed on stage and screen by Vanessa Redgrave and Maggie Smith. Her other work for television in this period included roles in The Barchester Chronicles and Map and Lucia, with Prunella Scales as Map and McEwan as Lucia. In 1983, McEwan played Mrs. Malaprop in a production of Sheridan's The Rivals at the National Theatre, in a production by Peter Wood which also featured Michael Hordern as Sir Anthony Absolute. Michael Billington wrote of this performance in 2015, "It is easy to play the word mangling Mrs. Malaprop as a comic buffoon, but the whole point of McEwan's performance was that she took language with fastidious seriousness, fractionally pausing before each misplaced epithet as if ransacking her private lexicography. As I said at the time, it was like watching a demolition expert trying to construct a cathedral." For this role, McEwan won the Evening Standard Award for Best Actress. She made her directing debut in 1988 with the Renaissance Theatre Company's touring season, Renaissance Shakespeare on the Road, co-produced with the Birmingham Wahida, and ending with a 3-month repertory programme at the Phoenix Theatre in London. McEwan's contribution was a light romantic staging of As You Like It, with Kenneth Branagh playing Touchstone as an Edwardian music hall comedian. Later career, McEwan won another Evening Standard Best Actress award in 1995 for her role as Lady Wishfit in a revival of Congreve's The Way of the World, again at the National Theatre. Sheridan Molly, then theatre critic of The Spectator, wrote, "Geraldine McEwan comes on looking like an ostrich which has mysteriously been crammed into a tambourine lined with fresh flowers." With Richard Briers, she starred from November 1997 in a revival of Eugene Ionesco's absurdist play The Chairs, in a co-production between Simon McBurney's Theatre de Compliciter and London's Royal Court Theatre, who had staged the British premiere 40 years earlier. This production had a brief run on Broadway between April and June 1998. McEwan was nominated for a Tony Award. Her later television credits include Oranges Are Not the Only Fruit, for which she won the British Academy Television Award as Best Actress in 1991, and Mulberry. She was also in the Cassandra episode of Red Dwarf, playing a prescient computer. McEwan played the demented witch Mortiana in the film Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves. In Peter Mullen's The Magdalen Sisters, she played the role of Sister Bridget. McEwan was selected by Granada Television for Marple, a new series featuring the Agatha Christie sleuth Miss Marple. She told The New York Times in a 2005 interview when the series was first being screened by PBS, "I do enjoy playing very original and slightly eccentric characters. It is very amusing that Agatha Christie should have created this older woman who lives a very conventional life in a little country village and yet spends all her time solving violent crimes." She announced her retirement from the role in 2008 after appearing in 12 films. She was succeeded as Miss Marple in the series by Julia Mackenzie. In 2005, she provided the voice of Miss Thrip in the film Wallace and Gromit: The Curse of the Wer Rabbit, and again in A Matter of Loaf and Death in 2008. Personal life. In 1953, McEwan married Hugh Crutwell, whom she had first met when she was aged 14 while working at the Theatre Royal, Windsor. Crutwell was the principal of the Royal Academy of Dramatic Art from 1965 to 1984. They had a son, Greg, who is an actor and screenwriter, and a daughter, Claudia. Crutwell died in 2002. McEwan was reported to have declined an OBE, and later, a DBE, but she did not respond to these claims. "I will never speak of that," she said of the matter to Cassandra Jardine in 2004. Death. McEwan died on 30 January 2015 at the Charing Cross Hospital in Hammersmith after suffering a stroke 3 months earlier. Selected filmography. Miss Marple in Marple. 2004 to 2008 awards and nominations.